Hello, Art of Passionate Intimacy. It is so nice to see you. It's been a few weeks since I've done a live video on here. I was traveling in India and it was freaking fantastic. But that's the subject of another video. So for today, what I really want to talk about is how to inspire or cultivate or motivate or entice you and your partner or someone that you just started dating to take your love life to the next level. So I hear all the time like, oh, he's just not that interested. He has different priorities, or I'm really busy with work. Like, we can find a million reasons not to prioritize our love life. But a lot of times deep within our hearts, we actually want something bigger and better and more substantial and more committed or more passionate, whatever that looks like for you. So I find that in life, we don't get what we deserve. We get what we settle for. And I don't think I made that quote up. Someone else made that up, but I really like it. I don't remember who originally said it. And it's so true. So no matter like how great, everything is going in your life, we are always being asked, I believe, to grow and to upgrade and to taste the next experience that life has to offer. So one of the things that's really important to be aware of is that every relationship can be an upgrade. So every date, every relationship you have, every person that you meet can be an upgrade into a next level of expansion for you in your life and having more love in your heart. But that only happens if you are actually doing the work to work on yourself and to work on your partnerships. So a lot of times we get stuck in a vicious cycle. So obviously you guys know what a cycle looks like, but it's like this vicious cycle where everyone that we meet in some ways kind of reminds us of someone in the past, like either our parents and somehow, or a previous ex that we've had. Like, if we're not actually doing the work on our relationships and on better understanding these patterns and on our self-care, we're just going to stay in this vicious cycle where every relationship will not be an upgrade. It will just be a reenactment. But if you're consciously working on your partnerships, if you're working with a mentor, if you are taking steps to become more aware of your patterns, if you're changing the sort of person that you're attracted to, if you're showing up differently in relationship, if you're finding different ways to date and meet high quality men, all of those ways are ways in which you're changing your pattern so you can keep stair-stepping up. So when we're not doing our work, vicious cycle, decades after decades, just the same thing over and over. When we are doing our work, everything is a next step up. Every man gets a little bit better. Every partner gets a little bit better. And I know I found that in my own life, that every partner had something to offer to me. Every partner had something to teach me. But we can get locked into this thing sometimes where it's like, oh, why am I doing all the work? Like, are men out there doing their work? Like, why am I the one who has to learn all about these things? And this doesn't feel fair. And I hear you. Like, I had so much resistance when I first started working with a coach and when I first started doing all of the things that, took me down this path. But underneath that resistance and underneath that frustration was knowing that there had to be a better way. Like, I had to get off of that cycle of just attracting the wrong sort of person. So what I want to share is that when we are doing the conscious work, we can sometimes get annoyed that like men aren't doing their work, but trust me, there's a lot of great men out there who are doing their work. Lots of great men. There's tons of great men's groups and men's projects. Just like we have our women's communities, there's men's communities too. So just please know that. And the other thing that I want to share is that when we're doing our work and when we're upgrading our relationship and when we're upgrading the sort of people that we're meeting and that we're dating, even when it feels like a struggle, like A, it's worth it, and B, the other thing that I want to share is that I just totally lost my train of thought. I'm like, oh, sorry. I had taken some notes about this. Let me just make sure I'm on track. Oh, okay. Here's what sorry. Here's where I was going with this. So sorry. Is this polarity thing. So as a woman, like, I want to feel my partner leading me. I want him to have direction. I want him to be taking us places, both like metaphorically and spiritually, but also in our lives as well. Like, I want him to be totally committed and showing up and disciplined and making money and doing all the things. Like, I want him to be creating the biggest life possible. And sometimes I would feel frustrated that my partner is not like stepping up. Like, why isn't he claiming me more? Why isn't he asking me to be his girlfriend? Why isn't he proposing to me? Like, why aren't we getting to the next level in our partnership? And what I'd like you to consider is that on this stair step, on this opportunity to get better and better in your relationships and to meet better and better people and higher quality men, there are three things that will happen. Either you're going to meet someone who is a great match for you, like kind of on the same level, everything is great, like everything lines up. That doesn't happen so often, but it does happen. And even if you meet someone who's on the same level, you might be growing at different paces in different parts of your life, professionally or personally or spiritually or physically or whatever it is. You can also meet someone who's maybe not quite on your level, but is willing to do the work to get to be at your level. I don't think you should ever date someone's potential, but if you meet someone that you have great fit with, great compatibility, connection, chemistry, but there's some ways in which you want them to step up more. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to be their mother. But you can inspire them to live a bigger life. You can inspire them into the biggest version of themselves, and you can inspire them to be the man who really commits to you. And I'll talk about that in a second. Or sometimes we meet someone that we feel like is like 5 steps ahead of us. And that's okay too, because we can learn and grow from that person. But when we're on this like stair step, when we're doing our work and the people that we're meeting, the experiences that we're creating are getting better and better, it's important to recognize that as the woman, like it reverses the polarity if we're the one always pushing, like pushing our partner, demanding from our partner, feeling like he's not good enough, feeling like we're not good enough, like these power struggles that we can get into. So what I prefer to think about is like on this stair step adventure as we're getting into the biggest, brightest versions of ourselves or reclaiming that part of ourselves. It's really about enticing your partner, not because you can't be direct, but because it's so much more fun to be like, look at what I'm creating. This is the life that I want. These are the standards that I have for myself. This is what feels good in my body, and inviting them into that version of life, inviting them to be their biggest self. So the way that you do that is in a few different things. You can either just express your feelings, express what's going on for you. That's giving a lot of information to the other person about what makes you happy, about what brings you joy, about what's important to you in your life. And that gives them the opportunity to step into a bigger version of themselves so they can take care of you and they can help to meet some of your needs. You can also very directly say, this is what I want, but I find it's fun to do it a few different ways because people respond in different ways to different things. So what I'm getting at is this idea of slowly climbing up your own stair step in a way that invites the person closer by sharing your feelings, by sharing your desires, and getting really close with your desires. So easy as women for us to just forget about our own needs because we're so busy taking care of other people. So honoring your own needs, staying in touch with your own needs, making a list of your desires, and not settling and not getting complacent with what really feels good for you. So as women, our desires get bigger and bigger, more luscious, more, grand vision and all of those things. But sometimes we can just want to keep ourselves into this small little life because we're afraid of losing someone important to us, or we're afraid of being too big or too bossy or too bitchy or too demanding or all of those things. And I want you to actually savor and relish and cherish your desires and know that your desire is leading your partner into a bigger version of himself or of herself. Your desire for these things that you want in your life, these experiences you want to have in your heart, these character traits that you want to build in yourself, or these lessons that you want to learn, that is an invitation to step into a bigger life. So don't dim your light. Don't forget about your desires. Don't hold your feelings inside just hoping that the other person can read your mind or that it'll somehow get better. I've never seen a situation where we sit on our feelings over and over and over again and the relationship gets better. That's where, as a woman, you're not necessarily leading the man, but you are traversing this stair step, this golden stair step up to higher and better and more expanded experiences through staying connected to your feelings, through sharing that with your partner in a way that's respectful, and your desires and all of these other things. So I want to make sure there was the other thing that I just wanted to say is it's not because there's something wrong, it's because there's an upgrade. Every opportunity, even if it's a little fight with your partner, is an opportunity to get closer and to get more clear on what you want and to express that to your partner in a way that inspires him to come closer to you and to step into a greater version of himself. So the masculine especially thrives off of challenge. And when we just pretend that everything's okay, then we're doing ourselves a disservice, but we're also doing our partner a disservice because we're not really being honest with what's going on with us and what we would really want to be happy. And that's why a lot of relationships get stagnant, is because either partner is just not expressing what they really want, is not expressing the fullness of their desires, is not expressing how they feel, or is thinking that the relationship has to be work. So the greatest part of all of this is it can actually be fun. You can actually tease and tantalize and express and, channel this beautiful goddess feminine energy within yourself in order to inspire your man to be in a bigger version of himself. So I know this gets a little bit esoteric, but just stick with me for a little bit. So if you think about that like golden staircase up to the highest self, the best version of yourself, the most expanded version of yourself, whether it's with the same partner or whether it's with a different partner, as you move through your journey of life, like how can you be so deeply in your pleasures, so deeply in your desires, and so deeply in your feminine that he can't help but be magnetized towards you, that he can't help but be attracted to that beauty, that light, that wisdom, and that sense of deservingness and that sense of playfulness. So never forget that it's not forcing your partner, it's not mothering them, it's not fixing them. It's expressing like, this is what I love about life, this is what I want more of, this is what I'm creating, and I would love to be met there. I would love to go on these adventures together. And sometimes it can be even a little bit pouty, like, this is what I want. You know, I'm not so good at being pouty, but you know, being pouty or being playful or being moody, you know, all of these ways that women sometimes get stereotyped can actually be beautiful expressions of love and desire and truth in the moment, as long as it's not like a hallmark of your personality. It's just the energy that's flowing through you. And you can actually look at that when you look at kind of being in the moment with passion and desire sexually, like all these different energies can flow through, like domination, submission, being pouty, being whiny, being soft, being tender, you know, crying, being angry. Like the energy of life is the same energy that is fueling our sexual experiences, our sexuality. It's the most potent energy in the universe, the energy that can create a baby. And so that same energy is flowing through you, not only in your sexual experiences, but also in the emotional part of your life. And the emotional part of your life is all of those tender moments that you share with your partner, where you don't demand him to be a better version of himself, but you uplift and inspire him to be a better version by how deeply committed you are to yourself. So a man will be as committed to a woman as she is to herself. So it's really important that you stay committed to yourself, to your desires, to your feelings, to what's true in the moment. So that can either inspire your man to step up, or call in someone who's going to be a better fit for you, who's wanting a big version of life, just like you want a big version of life. So never settle, never lower your standards. As long as you're doing your work, know that every relationship can and will be an upgrade. If you're not doing your work on relationships, and what I mean by that is like getting mentoring or learning about your patterns or moving more into your feminine or understanding communication and commitment and all those things, then we should totally talk, and I'll put a link in there to schedule a free call with me so you can get off of that cycle where you're just meeting the same people over and over again, metaphorically. Hi, Renee. And more get into that place where every opportunity, whether it's with the same partner or with a new partner, is to this expanded self. And I know it sometimes sucks to feel like as the woman, like, why am I doing all this work and the man's not doing his work? But we're so divinely, we have such divine capacity to do this, and men do too. Men have this capability, but I find that women, we have a deeper sense of intuition, a deeper sense of connection. In the Kundalini yoga system, they say that women are 16 times smarter than men, which I'm not sure about that, but I like the sound of it. So are you so devoted to love? Are you so devoted to your biggest version of life and biggest version of love in your life that you're willing to play the part and inspiring everyone around you to step up and to rise up and to be in their truth and their freedom and their feelings and their desires. So thank you so much for watching, Renee. It's so nice to see you, and Madeline too, and Monica. Beautiful. I'm curious if you've watched this video or if you're watching the replay. Do you ever feel frustrated that the man in your life or men that you meet don't feel like they're doing their work? Do you ever feel like you get into a state of being demanding or pushy, and what you really want to do is soften, but you're not sure if he's going to step up, you're not sure if he's going to lead? And then do you feel like you're stuck in that cycle, or do you trust that every person you meet is an upgrade and has more of what you're looking for, whether it's your person for life or not? So I would love to hear a little bit more from you about what you've experienced, and also what are some new positive beliefs that you can bring in there, even that belief that like every person I meet is enhancing my life. Every person I meet is an upgrade in some way. Whether they stay in my life or not, maybe the way that they're upgrading my life or enhancing my life is simply by teaching me to be really clear on what I want, or to set healthy boundaries and all of those things. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all that I want to say. I want to double check my notes and make sure I'm giving you everything I've got. Oh yeah, the other thing that I wanted to share is like, so many times we think like there's something wrong, like he's not coming towards me more, or you know, we don't have a big enough version of my life, or whatever it is. As people, we're always looking for what's wrong. And so what I want to encourage you is to look for what's right, and to always tell yourself, I'm getting an upgrade. It's kind of like a computer, like your computer might crash, or your iPhone might break, or your car might break down. And always looking at those things as, okay, I'm getting an upgrade. Like the next thing that I have is going to be safer, or it's going to be repaired, or it's going to work more quickly, or I'm going to have better communication. Same thing with all these little tiny micro ruptures that we have in relationship, and same thing with being in the dating cycle. Like everything is an upgrade. So just remind yourself, I'm always getting upgraded. I'm open for the upgrade, and I'm willing to step into a bigger version of myself in order to inspire, uplift, and entice those around me to also be in that sense of radiance. So thank you, Amy. Nice to see you. And yes, lots of love to you, ladies. And I will be here again next week. I'm back in the country and back on schedule. So if there's any topics that you'd like to hear about, please put them in the chat bar or send me a message. And I will see you next week. Bye.